Imagine standing at the edge of a precipice, looking out over a vast landscape of uncertainty. That's Ukraine today. The country, nestled at the crossroads of East and West, is veiled by layers of political, economic, and social complexities. Amidst this turmoil, the future seems as elusive as a wisp of smoke in the wind. Yet every challenge presents an opportunity for transformation, for change. And Ukraine is no stranger to change. Enter Colonel Douglas Macgregor, decorated military veteran, author, and a voice of authority in the world of international relations. Macgregor has never shied away from dissecting geopolitical situations, his keen insights often cutting through the noise. His perspective on Ukraine, its current struggles, and its potential future is one that demands attention. But what does a seasoned military expert like Colonel Douglas Macgregor make of this situation? Let's delve into his views. Rewind some years back, Macgregor's perspective on Ukraine was notably different. Back then, the world was a different place. A different geopolitical climate, if you will. Macgregor, like many others, was trying to make sense of the complex web of international relations, particularly the relationship between Ukraine and Russia. In those early days, Macgregor saw Ukraine as a nation struggling to find its identity, caught between its historical ties with Russia and its aspirations towards the West. He saw Ukraine as a battlefield, not of guns and bombs, but of influence, of culture, of economic alliances. Macgregor was not shy in expressing his views on the Russia-Ukraine relationship. He believed that the deep historical and cultural connections between the two nations could not be overlooked. He saw Russia as an integral part of Ukraine's past, and potentially its future. At the same time, he was critical of NATO's role in the region. He questioned whether NATO's expansion was in the best interest of peace and stability. He wondered aloud if the alliance was perhaps unintentionally provoking unnecessary tensions. But Macgregor was not just a critic. He was a thinker, a strategist. He proposed that a solution could be found in neutrality, that perhaps Ukraine could serve as a bridge between the West and Russia, rather than a battleground. These were the thoughts of a man observing a different world. But as the world changed, so did Macgregor's views. As we'll see in the next scene, Macgregor's current perspective on Ukraine is a product of new realities, of a world that's constantly evolving. But one thing remains the same. Macgregor's commitment to understanding the complex dynamics of international relations, and his dedication to finding solutions that promote peace and stability. Let's continue our journey into the mind of Colonel Douglas Macgregor. Fast forward to the present day, Macgregor's views on Ukraine have evolved considerably. Once a staunch advocate for Ukraine's autonomy, Macgregor now sees the situation through a more nuanced lens. His perspective has been shaped by a multitude of factors, from shifting global alliances to the changing dynamics within Ukraine itself. The colonel has been vocal about the complexities of the Ukraine crisis, a crisis that he believes is not as black and white as some might portray. He now asserts that NATO's involvement has exacerbated tensions, rather than alleviating them. He posits that the alliance's expansion eastward has provoked a response from Russia, a major power, whose interests lie in maintaining a sphere of influence in Eastern Europe. Macgregor's views also reflect a deep-seated understanding of the role of other major powers in the crisis. He points to the US and EU's support for Ukraine as a strategic move in a larger geopolitical chess game, rather than as a genuine commitment to Ukrainian sovereignty. This, he suggests, has added another layer of complexity to the situation, making a peaceful resolution even more elusive. The colonel also acknowledges the internal challenges Ukraine faces. He sees corruption and political instability as significant obstacles to the country's progress. Despite these hurdles, he believes that Ukraine has the potential to forge its own path, if given the right support and guidance. So, what's his current stance? Macgregor argues for a more balanced approach to the Ukraine crisis. He calls for diplomatic dialogue and cooperation among major powers, with a focus on respecting Ukraine's sovereignty while also acknowledging the legitimate security concerns of Russia. He advocates for a re-evaluation of NATO's role and a more nuanced understanding of the crisis, recognizing that the situation is not merely a binary conflict between good and evil, but a complex geopolitical issue with far-reaching implications. Clearly, Macgregor's observations and predictions are rooted in a deep understanding of geopolitical shifts. But what are his main points? Macgregor's views on Ukraine, while nuanced and comprehensive, can be distilled into a few key points. Firstly, Macgregor firmly believes in the power of dialogue and diplomacy. In his opinion, no conflict, regardless of its scale or intensity, is beyond resolution through diplomatic channels. He views any escalation of tensions, especially in the context of Ukraine, as counterproductive and potentially disastrous. The colonel underscores the need for open, honest communication between all parties involved, arguing that mutual understanding is the bedrock of lasting peace. Secondly, Macgregor has expressed concerns over NATO's role in the Ukraine crisis. He cautions against the alliance's potential to exacerbate the situation, warning that the push to include Ukraine as a NATO member could inadvertently stoke the flames of conflict. He urges the international community to carefully consider the implications of such a move, advocating for a more balanced and thoughtful approach. In that vein, Macgregor also highlights the need to respect Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. He emphasizes that external influences, while often well-intentioned, can sometimes lead to unintended consequences. He advises that the best course of action might be to allow Ukraine to navigate its own path, free from outside interference. Thirdly, Macgregor offers his thoughts on the potential outcomes of the current crisis. He suggests that the situation is fluid and unpredictable, making it difficult to forecast with any degree of certainty. However, he does express optimism that a peaceful resolution is possible if all parties are willing to engage in sincere dialogue and negotiations. Macgregor also notes the importance of understanding the historical and cultural complexities of Ukraine. He points out that the country's past is marked by diverse influences, and this rich tapestry of history shapes its present and will continue to influence its future. Recognizing and respecting these complexities, he asserts, is crucial to achieving a peaceful and sustainable resolution. Finally, Macgregor underscores the importance of learning from history. He reminds us that past conflicts can provide valuable lessons for the present, offering insights into how to prevent escalation and work towards peace. He encourages a careful study of history not just as a record of past events, but as a guide for navigating current and future challenges. In summary, Macgregor's views on Ukraine are characterized by a strong belief in the power of dialogue, a cautious approach towards external influences, a deep respect for Ukraine's sovereignty and history, and an optimistic yet realistic outlook on potential outcomes. His perspective, rooted in decades of military and diplomatic experience, offers valuable insights into the complexities of the situation in Ukraine. These are the views of a man who has watched and analyzed the unfolding situation in Ukraine with a keen eye. So, what can we take away from Macgregor's views on Ukraine? As we delve into the depths of this complex crisis, it's essential to consider the unique perspectives that individuals like Colonel Douglas Macgregor bring to the table. As a seasoned military expert, his insights are invaluable in understanding the nuances of the situation in Ukraine. Macgregor's analysis is informed by years of military experience and deep understanding of geopolitical dynamics. His views on Ukraine are not just reflections of the current situation, but they're also embedded in a nuanced understanding of the past and a keen anticipation of the future. He emphasizes the importance of strategic thinking, reminding us that in the world of international relations, actions are rarely taken in isolation. They are part of a larger, intricate web of decisions, each influencing and being influenced by the other. This perspective, while complex, is critical to fully grasping the situation in Ukraine. One of the most striking aspects of Macgregor's perspective is his ability to cut through the noise and the rhetoric. In an era marked by information overload, his insights provide a clear and focused lens to understand the underlying dynamics of the Ukraine crisis. His interpretations, while stark, are grounded in reality and devoid of unnecessary embellishments. Moreover, Macgregor's military background offers an angle that is often overlooked. He understands the realities of war and conflict, not just in theory, but in practice. This gives him a unique ability to anticipate potential outcomes and understand the stakes at a granular level. His views, therefore, are not just academic conjectures, but grounded predictions based on lived experiences. In essence, Macgregor's insights into the Ukraine crisis are crucial for anyone seeking to truly understand the situation. His expertise, experience, and strategic thinking offer a unique perspective that is both enlightening and educational. As we continue to watch the events in Ukraine unfold, Macgregor's insights serve as a valuable lens through which to view this complex crisis.